Welcome to Making Pumpkins Part 3. I'm so excited. First, we learned how to draw a pumpkin just with our pencil and an outline. Then we learned how to add color to a drawing with oil pastel to make it look 3D. And now we get to actually make a 3D paper pumpkin. So for this, you're gonna need some paper. I've just got some orange construction paper here. You could use a color paper for this other example one that I made. I had some fun origami paper and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna use these orange colors to make this pumpkin. But you can just use plain paper. You could also do this with just white paper or any solid color paper. Your pumpkin can be whatever color you want it to be. I have a piece of white paper that I'm gonna make my pattern with. And then I have some brown paper for the stem. I've also got a pencil, a glue stick, and a pair of scissors. So these are the supplies that you will need. If you want to press pause, you can go grab them. All right, let's get started. So do you all remember the one where we made the cactus that were 3D from our 10 Little Monsters Visit California book? Well, this is the same project. The only difference is we're gonna make a lot more sections, all right? So that it looks like a really round circle. So we're gonna make a lot of sections for our pumpkin sculpture. First, we need a pattern. So we need an oval pattern. It can be long way or it can be horizontal, like short way if you want a shorter pumpkin or you want a taller pumpkin, however you want to do it. But let's fold our paper in half so that we can get it to be symmetrical, because that's important that both sides are the same. So I'm going to fold my paper in half this way, and then you're just drawing half of the pumpkin. So I'm going to have it come up just a little bit so I have a place for my stem to go down under. So I'm using my sketchy line again so I can correct my shape if I need to, but I want this pumpkin to curve, so it's going to be an oval, and then I'll have it curve up a little bit here too, because pumpkins, each of those sections, you know, it has kind of a curve at the top and then a slight curve at the bottom. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one. All right, that looks like a pretty good half pumpkin shape, and I'll use my scissors to cut it. Once I've got it cut, if I decide that I need to change the shape of it a little bit, then of course I can still do that. I have an angle in here. This is where my stem is going to come from. So that's what it looks like in half. Let's open it up, see what the whole thing looks like. Does that look like a good pumpkin shape? Maybe I want to curve this a little bit more. That jets in a lot there. So I'm going to curve this slightly so it's not quite such a sharp angle. I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller too. It seems kind of long. So let me bring this in a little bit here. You all can do the same thing. See if you're pleased with your pumpkin shape. Yeah, that's better. All right, so now I've got a nice pumpkin shape that I can trace. And remember that you all can fold your paper so that you can trace and cut more than one pumpkin at a time. So if you fold your paper in half and then in half again, that'll give you fourths, right? And then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 pumpkins that I can cut at once. Now, you need a lot of these sections. You want to trace your pattern on and then you'll cut. And you need a lot of these sections. So I think for that other one, I used 12. So I'm going to do a similar thing here. How many pieces of this folded paper would I need if I am going to do 12 of these? It's a little math for you. If I've got 4 on each sheet, then how many would I need? 3, right? Then got 4 plus 4 is 8, and then plus 4 more would give you 12. So I'm going to cut out 12 of these pumpkin shapes. And I want to take my time cutting because I want them to all be the same size. So when I put them together, they'll fit together nicely. All right, so go ahead and cut out 10 or 12 of these shapes. You could even do 8 if you wanted to do a bit less. But I'm going to do the full 12. Okay, I got all 12 of my pieces. That's a lot. It's a lot of pumpkin pieces, right? Oh my goodness. But that's gonna give me a really nice full pumpkin. So what I have to do now is to fold them all in half, and then we'll glue them together. All right, so should we fold all of them first? I think so. And we could have kind of kept them in a stack. Maybe I'll stack some of them back up and fold them so I can fold them all at once. But be careful that you get your crease right so that you're really folding it in half, and that way they'll all fit together nicely. All right, so fold all of them in half, making sure you're really at that halfway mark. All right, I've got all 12 of my pumpkin halves folded. And now all we have to do is glue them together. So one piece at a time, take your folded piece, right? I'm just using a glue stick here, and apply your glue on that folded piece, and then take your next piece and line it up with this one. Now, the tricky part is you gotta make sure that that you're putting it on the right way so that it lines up right. And then do your best to line up the middles too. Because we're doing so many sections, we've got to make sure that they match up. That looks really good, all right? So I'm gonna keep doing that until I've got all 12 of my pieces glued together. My stack, I'm just stacking them up. My pumpkin stack is getting thicker and thicker. Okay. So now you have a stack of pumpkin halves, right? It's very thick. You probably got some extra glue in there. That's okay. Now all you got to do is glue this side to this side, and you'll have, look at that, a full-on pumpkin. Okay, so let's glue these two halves together. One more side of glue to do. All right, that side to that side. You might have to open it up now to just kind of line those two halves up and press them all together. Look, guys, that's so cool. All right, so now you've got your pumpkin with all of these pumpkin sections. It's looking 3D now. Look at that. It's very cool. All right, so it needs a stem, right? And we made one of our sides go down a little bit, you know, that side that went in more for the stem. And for the stem, you can use anything really. You could use foil, you could use yarn. I'm just gonna use some paper, and I'm just gonna tear a bit of it like that. I've got some brown paper, and then I'm just gonna fold it. I'm just gonna make it look kind of rough and crinkly like a stem would. And should I roll it a little more? Okay, a little bit more. Maybe it'll tear off the extra bit. So you just want to create something that looks stemmy. And then do you see that hole that's in the middle where all your papers come together? You can stick it in there. So you can decide which way is my stem going to go, which way do I like it. Maybe I want it to be a little wider or fatter, but you need a smaller point where you can stick it into the hole. So you can just kind of turn that and tighten it up a little bit. And then wherever you decide it's going, put a little glue on the end there. All right, and then you can kind of pull your pieces apart a bit like that, a little accordion, and then stick your stem in. Give it a little push. There we go. So now I've got my pumpkin with a stem. I love these 3D pumpkins. They're so fun. So try making one with orange paper. Try making one with red or blue paper. Who knows? Or maybe you've got your colored paper too. Wasn't that super fun? All right. Great job, friends. I hope you enjoyed our Making Pumpkin series.